As Kate your on layer, you need this insane lineup all the way over there to electrify the default wall inside of the top floor bomb site. Now that was just one out of 35 defenders that I'll be giving tricks for in this video. The second of which being for mute. As mute, my tip is if you know that there's a common place that they blitz rush, like elbow on Oregon, put a mute jammer down there. This way, if blitz is rushing you, whenever a blitz is inside the radius of a mute jammer, his flashes actually don't work. You can take advantage of this by putting a mute jammer where he's going to run, and then just shooting his feet and face checking him. He won't expect you to do this, and when his flashes work for a reason that he doesn't understand, you'll kill him every single time. My third defender is Thunderbird. If you quickly want to heal and you're next to a Thunderbird, instead of waiting for the long recharge timer, all you have to do is pick up the Thunderbird and replace it down. This is quicker than waiting for the timer, so you'll get a heal a lot faster. A much more popular operator is Mira. Now, this is a bit hard to see out of. If you want to see out of it easier, all you have to do is shotgun the soft portion next to the Mira all the way around your Mira, just like this. As you can see, your vision is a lot more clear now, aside from random debris getting inside of your Mira, but that's beside the point. My next defender is Jaeger. Now, Jaeger's device actually works in a 360, not just a 180. This information is useful because if they try to shoot, let's say, like a zero camera through this hole right here in order to get information into office or to zap wall denial, your ADS will actually catch it, and it's pretty useful in scenarios like this too, where they'll commonly throw grenades through the floor. Someone with a much wider range, though, is Wamai. Now, as Wamai, what you want to do is throw Wamai discs outside in front of attackers, kind of like this. Once the prep phase ends, you can open up windows like this and just throw Wamai discs outside. Now, if they try to actually ace open this wall from cover, their ace will get wasted and go straight to this Wamai disc. So you at least will waste one piece of important utility with that one Wamai disc, and hell, you can even put like 2 of them down if you want to waste a lot of utility, and a lot of attackers are not going to look where they're standing for a Wamai disc, so this can get a lot of value. The next defender is Turbo. Now, with the addition of Deimos, it can be hard to play any operator, but if you have a Turbo on your team or you're playing Turbo, all you have to do is stand inside of a Turbo freeze, and now the helicopter that Deimos uses to track you actually can't track you. So just sit in your own Turbo freeze for the 12 seconds that it lasts, and Deimos is no longer useful. My next operator is Valkyrie, and a lot of people don't like the fact that if you throw a Valkyrie camera at a plant, it'll just destroy the plant like that, which takes away a huge part of playing Valkyrie. But if you want to counter this, all you gotta do is throw a Valkyrie camera and then bounce your Valkyrie camera off of that one. And now this one's hidden in the plants, and you can pick this one up to save it for another day. My next tip is for Azami. Now, as Azami, all you have to do is put a barricade on this shelf right here, and then put your next barricade somewhere in the middle of the first one, just like this. Now, if you get onto the left side of this ledge, on top of the grating right here, you should be able to get a vault prompt to get on top of the kitchen counter, just like this, and no one will expect you to be here. An equally powerful defender right now is Fenrir. Now, my tip with Fenrir is you actually want to pocket one Fenrir device. Let's say you have the majority of your Fenrir devices for this side of the map, but you notice that they're doing a freezer push instead and you didn't put one over there. This is where you would pocket a Fenrir device to then actually put somewhere else, then you'd activate it, wait for them to walk in, wait a second after it's activated, peek, and kill somebody. It's very nice to do, especially if there's just too many angles to put Fenrirs down. You can just pocket one so that you can put it down wherever they're pushing, and now you don't waste a few that could be put where they're actually pushing. Now, my next tip might seem a bit weird, but it's for Vigil, and you want to run the Bosch G on Vigil. Yes, this is an actual tip, hear me out. The base damage to the body of this gun is 125 damage. That is more than any DMR, AR, SMG, or pretty much any weapon in the game. Given that this gun is a slug shotgun, it has almost no fall-off damage, meaning you will one-shot down people from across the map. It does not matter. This shotgun does a lot of damage, and if it's up close, you'll actually one-shot kill people as long as you hit them in the body. So it's an absolutely broken gun, and if you know how to run it, and in the right hands, it is much better than the mid K1A that he runs instead. So just run the Bosch G and learn how to play it, and I promise you, you will thank me later. My next operator is Caveira. Now, in a meta where you have so many roam clearers like Jackal, Dokkaebi, Deimos, Lion, or just drones in general, it might seem really, really bad to play Caveira. But here's the thing. Dokkaebi's banned in a lot of games, so you don't gotta worry about her. You can counter Jackal, so you don't have to worry about him. And you can sit still through Lion scans, so the only person you really have to worry about is Deimos. So if you don't want to get countered by Deimos as Caveira, all you have to do is the second you spawn in, immediately run away and hide. Just like, you know, inside of this desk, right here. That way you don't get red pinged by a drone, and when they do try to drone out, no one's gonna drone in this desk. Trust me, I know, I've actually sat here before as Cav and gotten kills. So Then Deimos can't even counter you, which makes you an uncounterable roamer that can still get interrogations with a crazy good pistol and an okay SMG. My next operator is Clash. One of Clash's many weaknesses is if they get to a point where they're close enough to you, they can melee your shield and shoot your feet. They can also do this with Callie and Zofia and Ashe, where they can just blow your shield away and expose your feet. So my tip with Clash is stand in a place where if your shield moves, they can't see your feet anyways because you're behind a wall, kind of like this. Or maybe behind one of these kitchen bars when they open the wall, just like this. Or maybe behind the bakery, just like this. And that was just one site. I found 3 examples immediately, so imagine the amount of sites and possibilities you can find on other maps and other sites. It's really easy to do with Clash, and it's the biggest way that you can make her almost uncounterable. My next tip is with Bandit. Now as Bandit, if you're bandit tricking, one of the many strategies of bandit tricking you could do is keeping one wall bandited and one wall unbandited. This will naturally make the attacker want to go to the wall with no bandit on it, so you can just sit ready to trick that wall and not worry about this one. However, if they EMP this one, chances are they're going to do this one, so then you know to get on this one. So it's a way to know which wall they're going to go on without actually knowing which wall they're going to go on. It's a great trick that you should start doing, especially in the higher elo, when most people are used to having 2 bandits on the wall and you sitting in the middle ready to trick it. For tip 15, we're going to go over frost. Now, instead of putting frost mats under windows like this that are super obvious that everyone's going to shoot, put frost mats in vaultable locations, like this sunrise bar right here. And if you're playing frost, think about what an attacker would do. If I'm an attacker, I'm not going to wide swing this door to take sunrise control. That's just dumb. Instead, I'll probably end up hopping over this bar so I don't have to peek the actual kitchen door. And because of that, I'll die to a frost mat. So if you want to place good frost mats, stop putting them under windows and put them in places that you know attackers will go, like under bars, or in plants like this. Just general places like that. You'll get a lot more value out of frost. For my tip with smoke, make sure that you're actually smoking a bit close to you, kind of like in this hallway, instead of on the door right here. This might seem like a bad idea, but if you do it every once in a while, it can be great. This is because if you explode the smoke, they're not going to back up all the way to like the back of barrels because you smoked inside of barrels. They're just going to back up to, let's say, the sides of the door. But because you smoked it off, they're never going to expect you to do what my tip is, which is just pushing up off of your smokes. Because smoke, you can breathe inside of your own smokes without taking damage, just like this. As you can see, I'm in smoke. I'm not taking any damage. So they're never going to really expect you to just push up off your smoke because they're too busy running the hell away from it. Their back's going to be turned to you, and you'll get a free kill a lot of the times just because no one's really expecting you to push up. Next, let's talk about Doc. Now, as Doc, typically a lot of Doc players will just go up to their teammates and heal them because they think that, like, Doc stims don't have an infinite range, but here's the tip. They absolutely do. If we try to Doc stim somebody who's, like, actually in trophy, we can actually, from 25 meters away, completely Doc stim them. And as you can see by the Doc stim in the ground, it did actually make it over here, so they have an infinite range, and as long as your teammates aren't moving, you can Doc stim them from literally anywhere. Let's move on to his counterpart, Rook. One of the many cool things about Rook armor, aside from bullet damage reduction, is the fact that you can get a self-revive if you're downed. The only thing, though, is if you're in a position where you're really exposed, once you get downed, they're just going to finish you off. Pause. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. So as Rook, if you want to negate this, hold super tight angles, kind of like this. The fact that you have an ACOG further reinforces the fact that you're able to do this. If you hold a tight angle and you get downed, you're in a way safer position to self-revive yourself had you not been in a position where you were holding a tight angle. For the next tip, let's move on to a Rooney. As a Rooney, bring a bulletproof camera. Then reinforce a random wall in sight where you want to put the bulletproof camera. Go to the other side of this reinforcement and with your fist, punch holes into the soft wall of the reinforcement. Then put your bulletproof camera inside the reinforcement. Now, because it's inside of a wall, it's much harder for attackers to shoot the side of the bulletproof camera, which is the only way that they can actually destroy it. So, you just made a bulletproof camera a lot harder to get. You can also pair this up with a Rooney gate to make it even harder to get, and not only do you have a bulletproof camera, but you also have a utility-proof camera, which is really, really powerful. For my next tip, let's move on to Thorn. As Thorn, you should bring barbed wire. Not only does it slow people down to get killed by your traps, but if you break the soft floor just like this and put a Thorn trap inside the soft floor, then put the middle of the barbed wire on top of the Thorn trap using your crosshair, this will make it to where it's very hard for them to see your Thorn trap. But because they're slowed by the barbed wire, now they're on top of the Thorn trap, they don't know where it is, and they're much more likely to die to it due to the fact that it's right below them, and they can't run away from it because they're in barbed wire. So this can be a deadly disaster for a free kill on defense. Moving on to a much more aggressive operator, let's talk about Oryx. Now, as Oryx, the animation of you Oryx dashing lasts a while, and it can be kind of annoying, but all you have to do to make it a little bit shorter is start moving around a bit, and you can actually cancel the animation of the Oryx dash and make it a bit shorter had you not done this. As you can see, I stopped before passing the blue tarps, but if I Oryx dash and I don't move, I go past the blue tarps, so it's something to consider if you want to make the Oryx dash a little bit less annoying. Someone else with the T5 SMG is Legion. Now, as Legion, you can break windows and then put Legion mines inside of a window, so that if any attacker repels on the window, the Legion mine will actually stick inside of them, so they have to get off of their repel, pull the Legion mine out, and get back on repel, which wastes a lot of time, and does a little bit of damage, and gives you information on when they're repelled, which is pretty nice. An even better trap operator, though, is Kapkan. As Kapkan, especially if you're in higher elo, you should put one trap super low, and then one trap actually super high. Because most people in higher elo, when they look for Kapkan traps, they're going to look down here to see the Kapkan trap, and once they shoot it, they're going to walk in, not realizing there's a Kapkan trap on the left that's super high. So you can get a lot of people with this, and a lot of free kills too. To celebrate you making it through 23 entire tips of this video, I'm going to show you a cool echo camera lineup. If you play Clubhouse, come to Strip Club, come into the closet, and open up this hatch with Echo's impacts, or a shotgun. Then what you can do is break down this door right here. You're actually able to peek out this door really wide without getting spotted by the outside. So if they spawn main gate and come through over here, you can easily shoot them. But if you want to get information on where they are, you can just get your echo camera, hop it up this hatch right here, look around for a few seconds, then get off your camera and shoot them. It's a really cool strategy if you're playing Clubhouse and you know the enemies are kind of brain dead. For tip 25 with Ela, what you want to do is make sure that you have Ela mines set where you know a Monty is going to push. In this clip, they knew I was playing Monty because I kept playing him, so they put an Ela mine in a place where I was pushing, which was great because then it made me unshield and they got to shoot me in the feet where I had to pull a Legion mine out and I was essentially just dead because they were just playing Ela. For tip 26 with Solus, what you want to do is literally don't set up sight. In the prep phase, immediately leave and try to hunt down as many drones as possible. That way you're getting the most usefulness out of Solus because this is really where her power shines as an operator. My next operator is Alibi, and as Alibi you want to make sure that you don't have a single skin on. This is because Alibi's Prismas spawn in without a skin, unless you're using her elite skin. So if you have on some extravagant skin like this that's obviously not a clone, they're going to shoot you and they're not going to hesitate giving you seconds to kill them. You're just going to die. So don't equip a skin on as Alibi, it just defeats the entire purpose of the operator. Moving on to her Italian counterpart, let's talk about Maestro. My tip with Maestro, now that he has 3 cameras, is put all of them in the exact same place for the exact same plant. If this is the default plant right here and an attacker is trying to plant, his teammates are just going to cover him and try to shoot any Maestro cameras that are zapping him when he goes for the plant. So to counter this, literally all you have to do is put multiple cameras in the same place and juggle them depending on which one they're trying to use to shoot the person who's planting. It's very easy to do. Speaking of information operators, let's go over Pulse. Now, most people, when you're playing a site kind of like this one, will expect you as a Pulse player to go downstairs to deny the plant. And because of that, they'll just plant on top of things to make it to where you can't shoot them from below. To counter this, all you have to do, instead of pulsing from below, is pulse from above. If you're in a 1v1 or a 1v2 situation, chances are they're both on site, or at least near site, so you can pulse from above and counter literally every single spot that they would try to plant from, because there's not a lot of cover that they can use on wooden sites like this one. Now let's talk about his FBI counterpart, which is Castle. As Castle, it takes 9 hits to break a castle barricade. So what you can do is if you know that someone's repelled next to your castle, in the prep phase or before they repel, you can just knife it 8 times. And then once you hear them repel, they're not going to expect you to be able to knife it and then jump out and get a free kill on them, because they're expecting it to be broken at least 8 more times before you're able to run out, and they'll be counting on that sound cue, and once they don't get it, you're easily able to kill them. So definitely try this out on Castle. Something else you need to try out is reloading after every shot with Tachanka. Now, Tachanka fire only lasts so long, but it lasts long enough to where if you shoot Tachanka fire, you have time to reload the 1 bullet from what you shot and then peek, and the fire's still going. And it's still going. And now it just ended, right? So you had time to reload a lot, which means if you just shoot a fire and then reload immediately after, you take away one of the biggest points of weakness for Tachanka, which is after you shoot a bunch of things, you have to take so much time to sit here and reload 1, reload 2, reload 3, reload 4, reload 5, which you never would have had to do had you just shot 1, reload it, just like this, then shot 1, then reload it, just like this. You're taking away one of Tachanka's biggest weaknesses by just proactively reloading. My next tip is with Melusi. One of the coolest things about Melusi is now she has an ACOG, so you can do some spawn peeking with her. If you want to get some free kills on the spawn peek, all you have to do is break the window preemptively, then put a Melusi on the bottom of a window, right about here. And then you can use the bulletproof part of the Banshee to get some free kills through the barricade, kind of like this. And because this is bulletproof, it is very, very hard, almost impossible to shoot the Melusi back when she's spawn peeking you. Just because of the fact that it's bulletproof and they literally just cannot shoot you back. One of the final operators I'll be going over in today's video is Warden. Now the issue with Warden is a lot of times when they're throwing flashes and they're throwing smokes and whatever else they may be throwing in, you have to activate your ability after it's already been thrown in, which is bad because then the utility kind of already has been used, or then you have to peek into a smoke, which reduces your visibility. But you can counteract this by literally just periodically activating your Warden glasses, and after it gets down to like halfway, then deactivate them, and then once it's recharged, activate them. This way, the amount of time that your Warden glasses is up is way more, and you're more likely to actually have your ability active before the utility is used, which gives you a huge advantage and fixes one of the worst parts about playing Warden in the game. The second to last operator I'll go over is Goyo. Now, everybody talks about how you can put Goyo on barricades, so that when they break the barricade, you have fire all over the place, and it's really common. But nobody ever really uses Goyos on reinforcements. Once this reinforced wall is broken, it makes it to where nobody can play on the wall or rush in and plant immediately, which is good in a meta where a lot of people are rush planting with Ying and Monty, or where people just sit on walls. So putting Goyos on reinforcements is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than just slapping them on barricades. For the final operator, let's talk about Mozzie. One of the issues with putting Mozzies on doorways, kind of like this, is if a drone is good enough, they can literally just creep by the Mozzie pest on the doorway, kind of like that, on the very edge. If you don't believe me, try it in a ranked game, it works. If you want to get around this, all you have to do is find the doorway that has wood on it. Then put the Mozzie inside of the wooden floor like this, and now if they try to drone through the doorway or even hop over it, they can't, because it's in the floor and directly in the middle of the barricade, so now they can't just creep by the doorway, and also it won't get like twitch zapped or shot, because it's in the floorboard, so it's way more consistent and useful. But that's pretty much it for this video. Check out this next video. My name's Alka, and I'll see you there. Later.